Did you like it? So I spent 11 nights playing.
Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay. And remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And we find ourselves once more amid the towering stacks of your library. And hey, Kay, do you notice the difference?
What did you do?
Last week, I asked you if there was something fun that I could do for the Velociraptors,
yes,
to reward them for saving me from Mr. DNA,
yes,
the cartoon manifestation from Jurassic Park, the book of the movie of the book. I'm just catching all our readers up on the unnecessary lore, so they don't have to listen to the previous episodes to understand what. Yes. And you suggested something that I summarized in my notes as Velociraptor habit trail.
That explains the little rope bridges running across from the top of one set of bookshelves to the other. And is this a water slide?
Okay, it has been just the greatest success. They love it so much. Turns out all it really took was just a couple of ladders up there.
So they could get there.
Yeah, and then they made use of the network of ladders that I established up there, and the toll system as well.
I noticed these little chicken coop ladders. I suppose those work fine for our boreal friends.
They love it up there. Oh. They're so happy there. Actually, can you duck and step aside? This pile of pillows. Yes, move to the side, and there we go. And 3, 2, 1, and yes, excellent. You got 6 flaps in there. Go and try that again. They are trying to fly, I think. So now that they have the height, and I've put some pillows down here and there, they can actually see how many flaps they can get in. And
how is it going for the bookworm hunting?
That's taken a bit of a backseat. So the bookworm population is on the rise now that all the Velociraptors are busy with their flying evolution.
Well, I assume that's going to make them hungry, so they're going to have to eat more. And
we have been dipping into the supplies of the cafeteria. Yeah, I thought I'd whip them up some grub, as part of the reward, as part of the party, and that was also a huge success, and they continue to expect more. I'll wean them off that. Apologies for the guano.
I was going to say, there's Velociraptor droppings on the bookshelves, not a really good look for a library, not a really good smell for a library either.
I'm sure it'll work itself out. We have the gnomes. I've made little ladders for them too. Still haven't seen those little dudes.
Don't think you will.
Here's hoping they pick up their custodial duties.
If they start putting in demands for more money or unionization, then I guess.
Yes, I do hear the little protests going on sometimes.
Oh dear.
Yeah, behind the wainscoting of the wall.
We'll just have to clamp down hard on that, maybe get some strike breakers.
No, you want little, miniature Pinkertons? No, that's terrible. No. We have made a huge breakthrough in at least, or my relationship with the Velociraptors. This is fantastic. I want to build on this trend of positivity.
Okay.
Because I'm sure.
Just as long as it becomes actual positivity and not just positive thinking.
Exactly.
And
There's
the library
no way
should
that
not,
anything could disappoint at this point, right?
Well, the library especially should not suffer.
I'm sure it won't.
I don't
These
have to
things have a way of working themselves out.
I don't have to remind you of your junior librarian duties, do you?
Yes. That's why I'm very proud that the library is now being guarded against against its very contents. I mean, you have the grimoire cage, right? That protects people, but there was no such protection around the books based on films based on books.
I mean, we didn't know they were dangerous. I mean, as soon as type of book becomes dangerous, then we just move them to the grimoire cage, and that's fine.
Actually, this is maybe something to research. I'm not sure whether it was just that one. I mean, the ire of the Velociraptors was certainly very squarely directed at that, but also all the rest of the books based on films. So what I'm saying is, hey, we may be the librarians. You obviously being the owner of the library. I'm a recent convert. One might say. I'm very very enthusiastic. But the Velociraptors, these little feathered, knee-high, squeaky dinosaurs, they're an intrinsic part of your library, and it turns out they have provided services to the library that they weren't considered capable of doing.
No, absolutely. What's your point being?
To involve them more.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine as long as the primary function of the library doesn't suffer,
which
to keep books safe,
to keep
neat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So no damage to books. And yes. Velociraptor poop definitely falls in the damage to books category.
Understood.
At least it will on time. It's not good for archival purposes.
It's also not great for probably the performance of a podcast if we just talk about dinosaur poop the whole time. So maybe it's time to move on to this week's book.
Yes, this week's book is by Travis S. Taylor. It's called The Quantum Connection, and it is the sequel to Operation Damocles,
which we reviewed in episode 15, and that would have been 4 or 5 months ago.
A good 20 weeks. We're we're running in the high 30s right now.
Yeah,
I think.
38 is this episode, I do believe. Look at us, like knowing our own back catalogue, which is a harder and harder job, by the way. Like in the past, you've praised me for remembering which episode was which, but that's when we had like 16 episodes, and now we're into 38. So let's see if I keep up with this. But yes, that one was written by Oscar Fellows.
Yes.
Oh my God, I think I just did that from memory.
Oh. Well, there you go. You're still going strong.
This is clearly the sequel to that book.
Oh, yeah. Same characters, definitely same backstory. So, yes. I think it's just like one of those things where it turned into a series and like different people start writing books in the same shared universe and different authors, and they keep continuing. It's not that unusual. It happens.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of franchises like the Star Trek and Star Wars novelizations, and then sometimes
Dragonlance was a good example of that.
Unfortunately, we don't actually know what the larger universe of this series is called, other than that it's very old-fashioned, high-tech spy stuff.
Operation Damocles was very much well, I think at the time I compared it to a Jason Bourne movie book. Lots of black ops teams and three-letter agencies, and there's been some technological progress since the last book.
Yeah, I like that there was a bit of a time gap where stuff could move on, because the first book, Operation Damocles, left us with the Earth changed after the space station Icarus was
deorbited.
Yes. And its payload of a copulin bomb, also known as a gay bomb.
Yes, was spread out all the way from Michigan down to the coast of Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, I'm going to be very impressed if that's indeed the case, resulting in the gay belt.
Yes.
As it is known. This is, of course, this book series' fictional imagination of how the gay belt came to
how the Midwest was transformed,
leading to the utter desolation of San Francisco, which is now a ghost city because it's
everybody moved to Detroit, which from Motor City, USA, now became Motorboat City, USA, I suppose.
Okay. I was going to say Biker Daddy, but sure.
So yes, let's have a look at the cover of the book.
Speaking of Biker Daddy,
yes, if you take a look at your podcasting device, you should see the cover of this week's book.
Wow, is that what I sound like?
Yeah, well,
yeah, that's right. Thank you for reminding our readers.
We see our, I think that's our titular hero. Well, not the titular hero, because it's not Mr. Quantum.
No, that's the point man of our heroic team Thebes, Agent Patroclus B.
Yes, that was the one. I think this is one of the later scenes in the book, which is described here, where you can see them
this is
fighting their way through the alien hordes, or maybe alongside with the alien hordes.
Speaking of... the synopsis of this book is, in this sequel to Operation Damocles, with a cordon-sanitaire having been erected around the gay belt, our intrepid heroes must fight their way through an alien siege to liberate the only intergalactic communicator in the solar system.
Yep.
What's a cordon-sanitaire?
Something from politics, as we learn in the first few chapters of the book, that after the creation of the gay belt and everything, like you said, San Francisco, everybody moved out. There's some tech bros still left there, but everybody who's interesting has long since moved down Detroit ways. Motor City, it's become Party City. It's like the Appalachian Treasure Trail, which is going... which is running down.
Yes, the Appalachian Treasure Trail that runs down.
It's like it's a very popular route, and you could call it a pilgrimage even.
Lots of people like to get on their knees and worship there.
Yes, that's a very popular attraction, I might say.
Yeah, it's something that Agent Patroclus and Agent Iphis, the other agent on the cover, have in common. Mm-hmm. A love of dudes. They make a very good pair of wingman and wingwoman.
After a while, the gay belt turns into a bit of a party zone.
Yes, because its population was doused with copulin, the once mythical and then real American superweapon that would turn enemy soldiers incredibly horny for each other.
I never really understood that theory, because apparently it worked for the Spartans to have strong personal bonding between.
And the Band of Thebes. Yes. And I believe that there were certain samurai traditions, but yes, the warrior lovers.
You fight harder for a lover than you fight for a rando, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yes, turns out that the party scene that the whole Midwest turns into is drawing some attraction from aliens from abroad.
The space
perverts, yes.
Space perverts. What were you going to say?
No,
Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, that's fine. That's absolutely good. Captain Zorflax comes in with his fleet.
Yes.
They fly in through Stargate Uranus.
Of course they do, yeah.
Because it turns out the Earth is the only planet in the known universe to have developed a club scene.
Whoa, yes, that's right. It's not just like Party City, it's Party Planet. And obviously some of these aliens have been in search of Earth for a while now, since we started broadcasting disco.
Yes, and of course Gay Divorce Court, which is also like very popular.
Popular real-life drama across the galaxy. But since the detonation of the Copulin bomb, Earth has been shining like a pierced nipple in the gloom of space.
I like that metaphor. Very good.
So one day the people of Earth looked up, and a grandfather and his granddaughter, whom he'd finally gotten interested in his telescope, were looking through and said, "Oh, darling, look up there. That's Uranus." Some people say Uranus. It's Uranus. And then she looked up and she said, "Granddad, is it supposed to do that?" Because she just witnessed essentially Uranus prolapsing as the gravimetric wormhole opened and the Captain Zorflax's...
In space, no one can hear you.
Captain Zorflax and his fleet, codename Goatsy, penetrated the solar system.
Yes, they made their way down to Earth and decided to join the party.
Yeah, rather rudely, I must say.
Well, yes.
There is one thing to sort of sidling up and crashing somebody else's party and going unnoticed and quite
and the other
something
one's
else.
just like coming in there and bump grinding your way onto the dance floor.
Yes, exactly.
But, they don't have a club culture, so they're like not a little bit shy on the exact etiquette that's involved with this sort of thing. And like they're discovering it as it goes along.
At the same time, these aliens are arriving in significant numbers very rapidly.
They want to come down and party because it's all the young and beautiful aliens. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it doesn't take that long for it to be quite common to see humans and aliens, or aliens and aliens are walking hand in hand along the shores of Lake Michigan.
Or like electronic manipulator and gas cloud or electric sparks, kind of like that.
Oh yes, celebrate diversity.
The big party with all these awesome aliens and all of their cool genitals.
The gay pride. The floats actually float now, thanks to the anti-gravity
generator.
generator.
The hover floats.
Yes.
That was a very kind gift, because that's when you think of futuristic technology like anti-gravity.
Yes.
Probably synthetic gravity would be more useful for spacefaring.
You'd think that once you do anti-gravity, you can kind of like do artificial gravity as well. You'd think that it's the same thing, but to be honest, we've been having floats here for forever back here in Amsterdam.
Yes, absolutely, because we have Canal Pride.
Yes.
Where it's a bit of a sport among the young people to cross out the C on any poster where Canal Pride is being promoted. Yeah.
Well, there's Canal Street in Manchester, which is, the popular gay hangout, and yes, the street sign suffers the same problem.
Vandalism at all times, but because it's on the canals, our floats are boats.
The crowd stand along the edges of the canal and wave and everything. Everybody floats by.
It's excellent fun. It's always such good energy, and lucky people who have their houses on the canal side,
hanging out the window
and having a big old party where they can invite people in.
This gets a certain amount of protest, of course, as well, because there's lots of people who don't agree with the extravagant lifestyle in the first place, and then there's lots of people who don't agree with aliens, and even more so with actual aliens.
I love that expression. I just don't agree with.
Yes.
Whatever. Okay, but which part do you not agree with? With the existence? Do you dispute the existence of?
I'd like to. Yes, that would be best. It's like nice if everybody would go back to the way it was, and I didn't have to think about these things. The whole gay belt area basically gets surrounded by this living cordon of protesters,
and from very diverse perspectives. Like as you say, some of them are just homophobes and queerphobes in general.
The turf protesters, and of course the ARF, the alien excluding radical feminists, and it's like you can't be a feminist if you're an alien, because then you haven't gone through the struggles here. And
I learned another word for these trans exclusionary radical feminists, the TERFs, which is some people call that a slur. I learned a term that actually sort of reverses it, calling them feminism appropriating radical transphobes or farts.
That could be construed to be a slur, but
a little bit.
Yes. So they try to form a living chain of protests around the area, which doesn't really work very well against people with anti-gravity
technology. No, exactly. And it's also not so much a cordon-sanitaire as a cordon vulgaire.
It turns out that, and which is the reason that our agents from Team Thebes are being brought in, that the protesters have managed to appropriate some of of the technology the aliens have brought in and have been setting up a few Kuiper Belt bombs. It's almost the same as we had in our other alien book, Space.
Which one? Sorry, we have a lot of
Spaceballs one.
Oh yes, that's right.
As we saw in Pirates of the Asteroid, where there was a lot of space rocks being thrown about
by hotshot rock knockers.
That's the one.
Yeah, but like bombing the Kuiper Belt. And the Kuiper Belt is the...
It's around it's a little bit in from the Oort cloud.
But that's still between some of our planets, isn't it?
Which have been, of course, with anti-grav manipulation, set on a course to impact the Midwest and hopefully wipe out the gay belt. At least that is the devious plan of the protesters.
So having read the synopsis, I was very pleasantly surprised. I don't mind telling you, Kay, that this is how it turned out. And when it said alien siege, it was the aliens under siege.
Oh yes, and a very good subversion of the of the trope. Yes.
Yeah, because I was sort of expecting, I mean, maybe a human-centric plot, which I thought would be disappointing for the inclusivity of the gay belt. But instead, we have this newfound community of these freshly arrived newcomers.
Yes, I'd say metrosexuals, but they're more like galactosexuals.
I wonder if they're all from the same spiral arm.
Oh, well, I think it depends on what.
Then we could be helicosexuals.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
There's clearly faster than light travel because they're using the Stargate technology, which only seems to work around vaguely, naughtily named planets. There's something in the technology that requires this.
Yeah, it's established that their main passage is through Uranus, but they do have a backup through Saturn's rings. And so, as these aliens are under siege, Team Thebes...
Their defenses are being battered down.
Team Thebes is dispatched from their secret location somewhere in the mysterious unknown city of Delaware, where no one knows where it is.
There's $1 million bounty awarded for the person who can prove that Delaware doesn't exist.
Yeah. I think that's one of Schrödinger's Nobel Prize awards. Yes. And they're dispatched on Operation Icarus because I think they've given up on naming things.
To be honest, I think there's someone who's like doing this in an Excel spreadsheet and they just don't know how it works.
That's what I think.
And
that's what I think.
And they have no idea what they're doing and they can just like, I can add a number to it. And it's like, this is Operation Icarus 4 now.
I can sort of understand that the discretion would be served if they all have the same name and are indistinguishable from the outside. Because, then... you definitely don't know what they're talking about when you intercept their communications, but budgeting then also becomes quite difficult.
Yes, and you still have the numbers, which are like, I mean, we talked about this last time. It's like it becomes a bit moot if you have all the Operation Icarus. Although I guess maybe Operation Icarus just means like that it's this particular division, but then you could just as well call it Team Thebes or Thebes 1, Thebes 2. But then it gets complicated if you bring another team as well. Like then you merge them.
Team Icarus? Yeah, especially that would be confusing. Yes. Unfortunately, they still have Vehicle Bellerophon.
Yes.
As appeared in the previous book, which is still unspecified whether it is.
Although it is now equipped with anti-gravity drive.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, because previously it wasn't clear whether it was an aircraft or a wheeled vehicle.
And it becomes even less of a point now because it can just land and drive and fly because they have to like make their way through the
cordon vulgaire.
Through the cordon, very good. The cordon vulgaire. They set out from Camp Sandy Balls again, which seems to have been turned into their headquarters, which is conveniently located in the Appalachians. It's not far from the pleasure trail.
The pleasure trail now.
Treasure trail. Oh, treasure trail, pleasure trail. It's like... these things go by different names.
But the protesters have seized quite a lot of the aliens' technology, and even Vehicle Bellerophon is not immune to some of the funky rays and
they basically get taken down. Yeah. The Team Team Thebes barely escapes.
It's tempting, right?
Yes, Icarus this, Icarus that, but no, Team Thebes
flew too close to the sun.
And the little Nova sun that came when one of the alien weapons detonated, fired off by a pissed off protester. They barely managed to escape with their lives, and they found themselves deep in no man's land, really, trying to make their way to a safe area and, of course, get control of the intergalactic communicator so they can use it to turn the Kuiper Belt bombs away from their intended target.
Quite a lot going on here for Team Thebes. I was kind of worried that they'd be able to be very effective in their mission, because when Vehicle Bellerophon was knocked out of the sky, they found that most of their supply of chasteberry inoculations was destroyed. The chasteberry is a plant known as an anaphrodisiac.
Yes.
And for a secret agent to function well in the still copulin contaminated wilds of the Gay Belt,
I kind of assumed that they'd managed to fuck their way around the problem, but I guess it helps to have a little bit of antidote.
Yeah, just to have a little clear-headed, but they don't have enough to go around.
So they go are we going to split the doses? Are we going to try to make it last, or are we going to give up one person?
At which point they get unexpected help from another familiar face, Martin Jumbo Hoover.
Oh,
the granddad with the telescope, whose granddaughter discovered Uranus's prolapse, has taken.
Yes. Sorry.
There's got to be a better word for it, but we'll figure that out eventually, I'm sure.
Ernest Rosebud,
who has an airship of his own. He's not called Jumbo for nothing. Rope ladders are thrown down.
These
Come
lovely
on, boys.
barns, and they, the barn roof folds open, and the airship just majestically lifts out and starts floating off against the wind to help our agents to achieve their mission.
Yep, he set out a while back. Dirigibles are not the fastest craft. He does explain the several different plans that he had after he set out, and
depending on the weather patterns,
depending on the weather pattern, and then paying attention to the news, and then the protests were there, and he thought, I'll bomb the protesters with chasteberry antidote, and then they became kind of moot. But yes, he has enough of the inoculations for them to
return to functioning after the hijinks we had with the agents trying to. It was a bit of a gratuitous sex scene, really.
Quite. Describing it as one sex scene is, I think, kind of generous to the pages and pages. I mean, I liked it.
Well, as long as it's well written.
It's a good thing that they had their inoculations when they arrived in the outskirts of Detroit, rapidly being converted into a gigantic space disco where the aliens are enthusiastically. Hey, did you get sort of vibes of Burning Man?
A little bit.
Aliens contributing their own technology to make this party last.
Basically building
bigger.
This whole thing.
Yeah,
basically,
right.
One of the old derelict neighborhoods of Detroit basically got razed down to a empty flat space, and now there's landed a few spaceships there. It turns into a bit of a cross between the Strip and Burning Man. One big gay party going on there.
As you can see on the cover as well, I'm pretty sure that this is in one of the towering nightclubs where you have all the fun tentacles.
There's the shooting scene where, of course, the aliens tentacles.
Tentacles.
Oh, tentacles. Sorry.
Why would it be tentacles?
Well, we're doing Greek names.
Oh yeah, and you call that, but yeah, all the fun recreational metal tentacles.
Yeah, alien agent tentacles.
No. This is where, in fact, they do meet a familiar face whom we recognize as well. The second in command of Captain Zorflax, namely Zorglab, whom we remember from back our very first episode, Aliens from Space.
Yes.
He was the primordial space pervert, as we recall.
And he is somehow shown up in this book as well.
Well, yeah, I like that. There's a bit of cultural remixing, which, I'm recently been exposed to cyberpunk for the first time, as in literary cyberpunk, and yeah, that kind of cultural remixing is kind of cool, borrowing other people's characters with love and respect, as is the norm down in the Gay Belt. So they have another ally on their side.
They spend some time in the Gay Belt, getting their shit together and regrouping after the fight and getting rescued, and then they have to move into basically counterattack the protesters outside and retrieve the intergalactic communicator.
Specifically the most important part, the Vibrorb, which we can see Agent Patroclus B holding here on the cover,
which provides the titular quantum connection between the communicator and the quantum companion of it.
Through quantum entanglement. Because so it's kind of fortunate that it's this cool weird, you can see that it's floating above his hand because obviously it has anti-gravity technology built in. It's actually really hard to touch it. So it becomes more of a shuffleboard kind of game in 3D.
I was going to say more like a game of racquetball, or squash as we call it over here in Europe.
It became a little bit confusing when it was dropped in the basket full of anal beads.
Yeah.
That was some uncomfortable rooting around.
Well, uncomfortable. That's what the long rubber gloves are for.
I thought you were going to say that uncomfortable. That's kind of the whole thing.
Well, there's that. There is that. It turns out it was a very good way to smuggle it out right from under the noses of the protesters, so to speak. Retrieving it again, long, lengthy sex scene with involved maybe a little bit more describing. Also,
and Zorg Lab and all of his cool genitals.
Yes, and also more references to Uranus and the stargating that was going on there.
So all in all, a bit of a mess, but gosh, I sure did love it.
Yes. I think it was a bit gratuitous in certain places, the book, but very much fun. Towards the end, it kind of went Neil Stephenson-esque, where, you're starting to wonder what happened to the ending of the book. It's like, you get all these really cool concepts set up at the beginning, and then towards the end, it kind of just goes off in a completely different direction, and then suddenly the book is over.
And breathless exposition.
A lot of breathless that. It's like, just relax. There's always time for lube. As we learned in... which movie was that again?
That's actually my comic.
There's always time for lube. No, it's from that movie with the three-eyed smiley.
Oh shit, Evolution. Is that
Evolution?
Where I got it
that's
from?
The one, yes.
Fuck.
It's where the guy gets the alien thing in there, and he goes there's no time for lube, and then there's always time for lube.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I honestly, it was a delightful mess.
Oh, absolutely.
As most of our...
It was exciting. It was exciting. It was thrilling. It was
unclear
titillating
where it was going or how it got there, but gosh, everyone was having a good time on the way there.
Yeah, that was unmistakable.
And it was very, I particularly loved that it subverted the expectation of the alien siege.
That was amazing. It's like, okay, the alien siege. Oh no, it's the aliens under siege,
and we need to protect them. Because
it really, to be honest, it was just people with protest signs. It was not and space guns, but
and some anti-personnel weapons.
Well,
it did get pretty fierce.
It did get a bit dodgy when the Roomba with the Claymore showed up, but.
So how are we going to rate this book?
Well, we've done Quantum before, so we can't use that again. That would be the obvious one.
Wait, planets.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, then we have to say is there 8 or 9 first? Do we count
8.
Pluto? No, okay.
We don't count Pluto anymore, unfortunately. I mean, if we counted Pluto, then we'd also have to count the other 3 that were known as
whatever. No, Ceres.
Actually, one of them was called Xena as a temporary name.
Until they went no, we're not going to do that.
But then we could have had 12 planets, and one of them could have been called Xena. That would have been so cool.
So, if we're going to go up to Uranus,
yes.
So I guess we're going to have it graded on the scale of Mercury to Uranus.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
I'll put a ring around it and give it Saturn.
Okay.
I liked it. I'll put a ring around it.
Yeah, so you put a ring around it. Okay, so Saturn out of Uranus. Saturn's rings out of Uranus. What a good podcast. And what do we have in store for our readers next week?
Well, we're gonna have next week's book by Mortimer Aller and Charles Van Doren, and it's very important. I think we should have reviewed this book a long time before.
Oh, what's it called?
How to Read a Book. Which is something we clearly need to be able to learn.
Thank you for joining us once again at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read. By yours truly. My name's Khaki.
And I'm Kay. And remember, we only judge a book by its cover. Alright, good episode.
The battle that we described was between whom and when and where did it take place?
Whatever.
I don't think it was motivated at all.
No, that's not really important, is it?